what can we say?
Okay, so it would be nice to have a kind of standard library in FASM. It is a thing that is missing really in maybe most or all assemblers. I am not aware of any having really somehow standardized complete library. Maybe high-level assembler, but that's not assembler really, and its library too isn't the best one really.
Let's not start another war here.
Okay, so it was clear that we need one. There were some problems with how should it look and how much should it do. And this, it ended up that way that I am almost only I am writing it, and I have decided to make it very simple, and so it will be very quite flexible to use. So I am not using any macros here. I am not importing required symbols there, like interpret to web API or so. Oh, I forgot to mention another important thing about standard library is that it allows or makes it very easy to create multi-platform, multi-operation system programs, which is quite problematic with assembler.
Well, you need some system-dependent layer that you can replace.
In library. Yes, in library I have a layer that's platform independent and a layer that's platform specific.
And how thin is the layer that is platform specific?
As thin as possible. Sometimes even at price of speed, or I have to maintain it, and if I change interface or function from the layer, I have to change the other one, and I have to change the documentation for the other one. It's quite ugly to maintain, so I am trying to keep it as thin as possible. Now I can show rough or about its hierarchy, its structure about FASMLIB. That it consists of modules. These modules are just some set of procedures and maybe definitions.
There's a comment from Cutter. A comment from Cutter. He says, keep the standard library relatively simple so
Yes.
you don't fail like MASM 32 library.
Yes, I am keeping it. I am not using any macros there, even if they would be helpful. I rather write some set of instructions 10 times than to have their macros there or these things. I am trying to keep it simple, similar to idea of FASM itself. So no over-featuring and only the very low level or very simple features which can be combined. Okay, back to modules. First, there is module which always has to be present. That's called FASMLIB. It's the core module. For now, it only contains some definitions which are used further in library, like calling macro, data definition macro, and so. And then there are quite optional modules. Some are which perform functions. These other modules are really just some procedures. So there is maybe the most basic memory management. Provides memory management, very basic memory management interface. You got allocating, reallocating, freeing, allocating, allocated block. and then some helper procedures like finding a pattern in memory or copying memory somewhere with taking regard of overlapping code. So it's not problem to copy memory 4 bytes forward or something like that. This module could be optional, but so many modules use it that you would have it there anyway. Then, what can be next? File access. Again, you have very basic functions like open file, create file, read from file, write to file, close file. This causes big problems with being platform independent because some platforms behave very differently. On Linux you can open directory as a file. On Windows it's not possible. Linux is not very generous with returning errors about invalid access to file. Some platforms allows it to open file read only, write only. So this is not very clearly defined, but for its purpose it's working. After that this is the change I am implementing now, static string module to work with strings. Originally I have been trying to avoid working with static strings, but I decided that's not a good approach because working within a dynamic string is quite slow, and sometimes you need to have string where you have it. You need to place it into a given buffer. Again, it contains basic string procedures like concatenating string, or getting substring, comparing strings, copying strings. So,
is it for zero-ended strings?
yes, for zero-ended strings, and to every string you push a pointer to string. You give to the procedure a pointer to string, and always also the buffer size. So it will not be possible, like in old C standard library, to have so many
overflows. Will there be a version for FASMLIB strings?
It will be in dynamic strings. This is another module. These are dynamic strings which are allocated from memory using this. And these strings will have stored the buffer. Will have the buffer size and the actual length of string until the 0 bytes stored at negative offsets, at -8 and -4. So you can still use them with pointers. This will be only done. These two things I am recommending now. And working with them is a little nicer with these dynamic strings. Sometimes it's a little harder because you must manage the buffer size, you must forward to know how long will the string be, and so, but generally I want to have enough functions there so that users wouldn't have to access the string themselves too often. Another advantage is you can use this for string of whose length you don't know forward, because using only static strings you must give some upper bound, and if you give it too large, then most of the time it wastes these resources.
I think some of the methods of the dynamic strings could be then reused to make some kind of big number calculations library, where there are also numbers of different sizes.
Yes.
And you would have to resize, for example, you multiply two numbers and the result is much longer.
I was thinking about having some, with every memory block you allocate, my function places header to the beginning of block and returns the pointer further, and that has stored for every allocated block its size, so you can relatively quickly access to it. And for every thing you allocate, like dynamic strings, or you have some list and list nodes later, and so we'll have also its actual size stored and negative offset, so it will be quite standardized. But I will keep accessing to it not directly with using negative pointer and negative offsets, but with function code. For me, the speed isn't that important if I would have, because of that, redesigned the library. So to get size of memory block, we call them. You have this call which first does couple of checking, then returns new one, lower from memory and returns. So I am getting that size this way. Now what we have next will be conversion library. Or did I miss something about dynamic strings? I don't know. You bet about this approach, maybe think that you cannot use static strings with stored length and so, but anyway, I don't want to overfeature it, my library. Having there some another letters, whatever, it will be confusing. I forgot to mention, there is one problem about static string library. You are always giving destination buffer, and how to behave when destination buffer is not long enough. There are several approaches to it. If I always return error, then you cannot use this behavior on purpose. For example, you want to replace 2 bytes with something using string operation. So, but it may both versions, returning error or just returning some flag, may have some advantages. I have not decided yet. Probably I will be returning error always. No. Questions?
Yes. Flutter or Cosby says, how about memory map files?
Memory map files, I didn't think about support for now. It's not problem for me. Problem is whether every platform has it, because my interface has to be same for every platform. So if some platform doesn't have it, then I will not implement it. Currently, I have version for Win32 and Linux, and I am discussing implementation for SkyOS with NetBSD 88, I think. So I will see. For now, I don't have them implemented, but it's not a problem. It's 2 functions, one for Win32 and second for Linux. And then I would have to test it. Not much work, if someone requests that. Okay, conversion module. This module will be performing basic conversions like number to string, or I don't know, memory dump, to just set of bytes separated by space and these kind of things.
Maybe some kind of functions like
Not yet. That's too much.
I think you didn't.
That's too much. Wait.
Okay.
I see.
For now, the destination.
This is going to be some kind of very basic library,
Very basic.
and you will build. Other people can build more complex libraries on top of it.
Yes, that's roughly the idea. I said very basic features, and you can combine them. And then there will be maybe optional modules which are more high level, but you don't have to use it.
Yes, this is something that gives you the independency of operating system.
Yes.
This is the most important.
Yes, one of most important things. Also, it will always store to given buffer of given length, so you can use this to emulate some of the printf features. like you know when you place number before. Like something like when you only want to write first 8 characters of string or so, it will be implementable using this way, always passing buffer and it's it. And later, these conversion modules functions will also have versions which will directly work with this. For example, convert to dynamic string, not to buffer of given length. If you don't know how long the conversion will be, or that way. Now this module is not even started, I would say. I still don't have idea about converting real numbers. Maybe I should go steal it from FASMLIB, from FASM.
In fact, it is only in one direction.
Yes. But still it's better than nothing.
Oh, some of the routines can be used to remake it into the other direction.
So, on the top of conversion module, I can make string support. Strings, which will be in the first versions only console. How do I pronounce that?
Console. Console?
Yeah, console. Console input and output. Like writing something to console and getting some input from user. For input it is required to have some conversion modules, like when you want to read a number or so. And same for output. And this still be a little problem. For input I will have to implement my own buffering. And also this may be design problem, how to make this stream kind of overloadable. So you can, let's say, have stream like an object-oriented programming. You have stream object which is then overtaken by some encrypted stream or something like that, which is then overlapped by some stream that checks whether data is correct, and so this might need having object-oriented approach. Like every stream handle you get will have some pointers to handlers or something like this. I'm still not sure.
Something like inter-process communication also?
Support for, do you mean like executing a thread or something like this? That's the last module I have, but it's not really a module yet. Process. This one has now only exit process and get command line functions. Later, I will add some code that will create child process and that will create thread, another. And I have to catch all threads.
And what did I ask about is whether you can make a stream that one process is outputting to and the other one takes it as input.
For now, surely not. I am not managing it. I have enough problems with making, for example, these things to be able to run in multi-threaded environment. For example, memory allocator in multi-threaded environment is hell to write. There are maybe 3 on internet, and all of them are very big, and either you have a lot of wasted memory or you have a lot of context switches. It's really not so simple as it appears. This will be generally what I want for FASMLIB, and everything other will be just add-ons. Not really. There can be also some platform-specific modules. You can write for like DirectX, wrapper, or something like that. For now, this will be, even this is optional. No, it doesn't belong to core. But it is already written by John Pound, so I include it.
Well, I myself am thinking about some more powerful platform-independent modules on top of this, like bit number library I mentioned, or
Yes, by time, of course.
or image processing or something like that.
Yes, but by time, for example, I still have code from Descartes, which is having packing on screens using some test algorithm. So it would be nice to use these plot files or so. There are many possibilities with this, but it's not important for me now. I want just some solid core that's well designed.
Well, of course, this has to be finished first.
Yes. And it's more design work than writing. Not that big piece of code. The only problem will be memory management. I have to write my own heap allocator, which isn't simple for multi-threading environment. And second, which might be problem, is how to solve buffering input in string. I have to have my own buffering, and this may result, if you remember I mentioned more levels of strings. I may end up having separate buffer on each level, which is not very good. So I have to solve this that buffering. No, I don't see a solution yet. Right now, I am working on string module. There's a lot of exceptional cases you must test. So you can see it in my testing scripts. They are in file. This file is not uploaded on internet yet, sorry. But I have a testing script, I will upload it soon. In which you see how many exceptional cases there are. Like when you pass zero length buffer, or destination buffer is not long enough, or source buffer is not long enough, or if you are taking substring from string, then size may be overlapping the source string, and there are very many cases. For future, I want even to implement catching invalid pointers as to mem, pointers to impossible area, but it's not to be done yet when I only support these two platforms, because it's possible that I won't be able to do it on another platform. But generally, this is the idea. Maybe I can talk about file layout in my library so people can easier navigate there. So it's developer library. Inside there you have the fucking manual. For every mod there is a separate file. This directory contains general documentation about FASMLIB, its entire one thing. I think it's like this. This directory contains documentation of modules. Maybe this is not FASMLIB, but modules I'm not really sure now. Here, for each module there is a file which contains the beginning general description of module, its ideology, how it's working, what is it using, and inside there there are the documentation for each function. This was documentation. Then then is the FASMLIB source code itself. I am having many these steps. Here is code for inside this directory resides the platform-independent source of modules. So for every module there is a file, like mem.inc, mem.inc. So the module can be using also some, or the module can need some platform-dependent code. In that case, that module-dependent code is included from within this file from this directory. Also, there is FASMLIB/units. This is included automatically by the file, because on beginning of source you define which system you are using, something like and when including it, something like this is used.
It's too small.
Yeah, definitely.
If you know FASMLIB professor. So this includes the file from corporate directory automatically depending on the constant defined in the beginning of source. So besides the file specifically or the type of executable or the things which need to be defined for type of executable, like imports in PE and sections and there. Besides that, this is only thing you need to change to port to another platform if you are using only FASMLIB. Back to the directories. Also, there may be some platform-dependent modules. This will reside in this directory, but other times you are not including files from this directory, you are including files from this, and they take the part they need. After that,
Comment, Ben, from Revolution.
I'm blind, I'm not there.
From
Places. Yes, it has to be inside match. I used it just for example. You can look at FASMLIB, it's there, not use. Then I got, this is my internal file. Here I got tests for the modules which I use. So I try to keep it really simple. You just always need to. So this is example, not really complete example how to use. I think this is not all the SAP system. It doesn't really think it is important. Another thing which might be important, how to how to include the source of FASM, or how to link your program with FASMLIB. Because it's aimed at only at FASM users, I decided it will be just included. Not, it can be linked of course, but it is designed to be included, and I advise not to use some environment variables. It's possible that just by simply copying the FASMLIB directory. Just by copying this directory into your project directory. And then into a link like this. This is a model which always has to be present. And you are including another module. That's everything you need. And after that, you can start using, you can use all procedures of FASMLIB. Another important thing is calling standard. I am using STD call, means arguments are pushed on pushed. Pushed, how do you pronounce it? Push? Push. Pushed on stack in reverse order. And return value is returned in EAX. All other general purpose registers are preserved. But there is, I will give you an example here. New thing I introduced, and I'm working it by the way, is returning error in carry flag. So always each function, when it returns with error, it sets a carry flag and returns error number in EAX register, and doesn't return anything else. So after every calling of FASMLIB style function, you must check for error. I find this much better than returning errors within the return volume in EAX, because you have then reserved some volumes to mean error. You can see nicely on the API. Which means sometimes error is 0, sometimes it is 1, sometimes it is not 0, sometimes it is -1, sometimes it is 7. So sometimes it is not returned, but set last error is called. But sometimes, but not always, some functions which return error code immediately doesn't set last error. It helps.
And it's just back to the method that was used by DOS.
Always? It always return error in carry flag?
Almost always it was the carry flag set, and if carry was set, then code of error wasn't heavy.
It's a long time ago and I wasn't error checking too much.
There are some questions.
Yes, here I'll read them. You can say that. It's Okosti says, I've checked only very early versions of FASMLIB, like 8 months or so ago. Does current string function support Unicode? No.
Quick answer.
In future there might be some and some modules like this. Really, current version of FASMLIB has to be some core given, which can be extended. I want to finish at least something, so if other people can then use and make it. It's not a problem to design, it's not a problem to add it, just code it.
But this will also be something to do in the conversion library, convert between different encoding strings.
Yes, you're right. So it becomes harder, but it may be overcome by first converting into a bit or normal ASCII strings and converting from ASCII string to Unicode or something like that. really, I personally don't usually code very much. I wasn't thinking about this, honestly. I will have to think. But if I say it's not that important for now. Another questions?
No, they sort of self-police each other.
So,
Oh, and one more question about errors. Maybe it would be possible for the something that can be done on one operating system that can be done on the other. Maybe you could implement it, but on some operating system return an error code that this is something that cannot be done on this system.
This is what I don't want, because it makes it harder for the users and people. For example, somebody is writing something for Win32 and then he claimed this error can be written on some Linuxes or so, and then he ignores. And then this error, and after he ports, he doesn't remember. And then
So you like to keep it inside the system specific library?
What?
So you like it to keep it inside the system specific library, inside the Windows library, and not the.
FASMLIB won't support platform-specific things. FASMLIB will only contain platform-independent things or
Yes, but
procedures.
you said that in the directory of given operating system there
Yes.
are files.
Yes. In that case, for these things will be platform inside platform-dependent modules. But in future, generally, FASMLIB will support only that what is common over every platforms, and dependent things can always be done with if defined or if else equals Win32. This user can manage these things by himself, and it's less confusion and maybe even easier than this. Or I can use the platform independent modules. I also return some additional return values in flex, not only in EAX, because FASMLIB is aimed at only at FASMLIB users, you know, so that's why I can return with very flag. Meaning sometimes I can give more info, like function that writes to file or function that reads to file. I can set 0 flag if it has reached end of file, or you know, there's many possibilities. I can have string for there was a nice example with strings. Like some cases when I return something empty, I set 0 flag or.
So you can make chains of conditional jumps immediately and make a call.
Yeah, I'm afraid it will. So already now the real FASMLIB code looks quite leaky, sick, because I use macros to call my functions. So it's always call, jumping query flag, call, jumping query flag, call, jumping query flag. And it wouldn't be problem making some high-level structured exception handling macros, like try, throw, catch, you know. Thanks to this, it will be very easily implementable. Just you make try and overload code with macro that checks for carry flag value, and if it's found, it will jump to catch. Of course, it will be without unrolling string and all this, but within a procedure, this will be very easily implementable. Another nice thing is for calling, I use macro. I named it recall. It's your sort of call, standard call macro, stolen, plus some functionality edit. For example, I can have nested calls. What name of function here? Let's say the start page. Like this. Advantage is that thanks to returning error in carry flag, I can check error even on this nested call, and in that case jump here, and unroll things that are already pushed on stack and everything. So you can use this and have error checking, unlike in C or something. In this case, it is better than C, because in C, in theory, you can use nested code of functions, but in reality, almost every function returns error value, and you have to check that value always. So anyway, it is unused. You can use it. Well, that was code.
And by the way, you cannot define functions that get a variable number of arguments, because this is the default. So
it is confusing. I don't need it. If I would need it, it's no problem. I don't see that as a problem, because I am in assembler. I know how much I have on stack. I can stick myself. I don't have use return here with some given number. You know, I'm using assembler. I can do that.
well,
It's kind of tricky, but
you can always just pass a pointer to some structure.
what I want, important aspect is that I want support still leave users possibility to use only plain pure assembly code, not macros. And having to unroll or remove variables from stack behind each call is why it's not very nice in handwritten pure assembly. No. For example, Mazegan is designing this for internal purposes library too, but he relies on macros. And for example, his error handling is done that way that you always give some pointer to a buffer which will hold error info and so, which is nice solution, but then it is hard to use such library with pure assembly code. When you have these things, you have to do always. Even this is not very nice behind every code.
F8 has a question. It says, does FASMLIB use some of the modern optimization instructions, MMX, SSE, SSE2, or is it compatible with older CPUs?
For now, I wasn't using them. There's only one function in string module which does fast copy of strings using MMX, but it is just remains from Java. I don't need it yet, but I don't see problem with that. Maybe there will be needed some handling to check whether it is present or so. For now, environment to run, I'll use FASMLIB is 32-bit code, ring 3, sufficient. Like mode, roughly, code must be low, or data in code must be about 10,000 X, because the lower volumes are used as handles, so you can
So if one day we make a 64-bit FASMLIB, then we can use all these extensions because every 64-bit processor has them.
I personally don't see problem with them, but I didn't read it. Is there more? Oh, there are the data definition macros I mentioned. Again, stolen from fresh, but I have changed the names. I like them more. Initialized data and uninitialized data. I think these don't need a lot of explanation. I decided to use braces instead of data and data because if you are using this inside macro definition, escaping braces becomes more natural than escaping this. It has few problems. For example, this is taken as macro argument and it isn't working always if you have something like this. won't work, you have to split the lines and so, but it's not that a big deal. If someone doesn't know what these macros do, you can use them multiple times, and they collect your data definitions and place them in one spot where you have data. It's something that was done by Linker previously. When you had more modules, in every module you define data section and code section and a linker branch it. And now, because we are using only including, not separate modules, but we need to have data definitions spread across many files in source, and we want them in one place in binaries. So this is purpose of these macros. Anyway, I think people know these macros and they don't need that much description, and they are, I think, well described in FASMLIB. You can find on the internet. It should be, and then I'm not sure if these modules are FASMLIB. This file. Anything more? Did I forget about something?